Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. We're going to start with Varchild in our, what is she, deck? This is deck number 319. This is the first one of the new Commander 18 commanders. There are 16 of them, and I've got like most of them done. We're going to try to bang through them pretty quick because I've been pre-building them for some while now. I just had to get over my hours and hours of talking through that set review. But anyway, and build decks. Varchild. Now, I'll tell you, once we get later into the deck, there's one glaring omission to this deck that I wanted so bad, but I can't find one locally, and I didn't really have time to order one and ship it in. It's not real expensive. But anyway, to Varchild. 3 mana, 3/3. Now, keep in mind, there are certain things that go against this. It is mono red. I mean, there's just certain things we can do. But I think she is amazing. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, they get that many survivors. The survivors can't bother you. Now, I mean, they can't attack or block you or your walker friends. And then when she dies, you get them all. Okay, so the card that is missing is Coat of Arms. This is like the perfect deck in the world to run Coat of Arms because I want to make all those survivors huge. Because once a survivor gets up to be 5/5, 6/6, whatever, people are going to want to start swinging with them at each other. She is great. Probably one of the more political mono red because she's just going to incite this war that you're not a part of. Anyway, I've got a, kind of categories. Here, let's go through the massive creature stack first. I have two other creatures besides her. Obviously, Varchild's War Riders has been chilling in the Alliances binder since I put him there in, like, I don't know, when the set came out. Because I've never really played this creature just because the drawback was so horrible until Varchild. Now, if you don't have Varchild on the table, it's still a pretty bad card. 2 mana, 3/4. But the real reason why it's in here is to pay for that cumulative upkeep. Because somebody gets a survivor, then because of the way cumulative works, the next turn somebody gets 2, and then 3, and then 4. So the War Riders is just going to pass out survivors like candy on Halloween. Anyway, and then the other is Tari Mauler. I can't explain it. Technically, it is a survivor. Oh, by the way, when Varchild dies, that's why I put this in here to remind me. You're also going to gain control of all changelings, any things that have all creature types, things like that. Pretty neat. And here, let's peel through some mana ramp, if it were. We don't really need a whole lot of mana ramp. What we're wanting to do is cast our general. She costs 3 mana, so that's not real bad. So the Soul Ring, the Fire Diamond, Wayfarer's Bauble, Mind Stone, which is probably more often going to be 3 mana draw card, a Pyretic Ritual, and of course the Big Daddy itself, the Mana Geyser. Now, the reason why I want the Mana Geyser we'll get to later because there's going to be a time where we need gratuitous amounts of mana. Card draw. Howling Mine ain't the best in the world, but it's better than nothing for mono red. And then we've got this new Endless Atlas. Like the Endless Atlas, I think it fits perfectly in mono red, mono any color that doesn't have better options, which is, white and red. Anyway, it's pretty good. Now, I want to deal maximum damage with Varchild. So let's pump her up. The very first card that came into my mind was Grip of Granite. So I'm like, yeah, for each mountain. And the casting cost is absolutely perfect. You play Varchild, untap with her, and then you can, of course, it's the same CMC. It wouldn't have, Granite Grip's not that amazing, but if you want to start talking multiplying your damage like that, which is really close to Claws of Valakut, only the claws you get first. Now, it took me from there it took me to Shiv's Embrace mentally, because the flying +2 is not, I mean, it's not bad. We're still talking 4 mana here, but flying is going to eliminate most of the blockers. And then that fire breathing thing. Now, I had forgotten about the fire breathing part of Shiv's Embrace because it's just one of those things you just don't think of. You know, fire breathing is not a memorable ability. I was so stoked about the flying and the +2, and then I started thinking about it's essentially red mana : they get a survivor. That's pretty neat. So that led me just to go back to good old fashioned fire breathing, which this may be the first deck fire breathing's in. Now that I think about it, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, if somebody can remember one, but I'm looking at the wall right now and I can't really, although it's kind of hard to, anyway. Uh, she's red. She's legendary. 3 to cost, 1 to equip for +3/+3 and trample. The toughness boost here is not bad either. Now, while we were in Kamigawa, this is actually perfect too. 1 to cast, 2 to equip. This is the part we care about of Loxodon Warhammer. I guess some decks care about the lifelink, but +3/0 and trample, which is kind of way, way cheaper. That's 1 to cast, 2 to equip, as opposed to 3 to cast and 3 to equip for just the upside of lifelink. I mean, I'm not dogging the Warhammer here. I'm still playing it. Hero's Blade, kind of neat. Man, that's pretty in foil. It's going to auto-equip. And it's perfect because it's the 2-drop. If you get it in the opening hand, you can play it before, and when you play Varchild, it just pops right onto her. Now, I didn't really set out to make it a Voltron-ish deck. So, I mean, we're about to run out of... Actually, this is the last pump equipment. There's a few more. Here again, this one is trading the lifelink of the hammer for vigilance, which is way cooler. The second line doesn't really apply here because it's not like we're going to have oodles of creatures to reattach this Joker to. But still 3 and 3. It's fine. Swiftfoot Boots is going to keep our girl safe. Now these last two, I didn't. Whisper Silk Cloak I wanted in here just for the unblockability. And I'm going to say the downside is it has Shroud. But that's not a really horrible downside, you know. I'm also running Lightning Greaves because of the haste, and yeah, I guess the Shroud. Now, we ain't got a whole lot of cards that target, but equipment target when you go to equip it, so I don't know. The reason why I'm so hesitant about those two is you can re-equip to another creature, but you know that doesn't happen a lot with this deck. I mean, we're running 2 dudes. Or, if you count her, 3 dudes. Seriously. Anyway, the red giant growth and the red slightly worse version, okay, way worse version of Berserk. It's 3 mana. Still an instant, still gets trample. Except this one, you sacrifice it at end of turn, which is fine because you're going to deal a crazy amount of damage in that turn. Trample, so you're probably pulling this out when they're blocking with a chump servo or whatever. And then you just, you know what, I'm still going to do a ton of damage, and my gal's going to die, and I'm going to get all those survivors. Aren't you proud of me? I've gotten so far through this video. I mean, we're 9 minutes in, and I haven't, like, busted out into song, the survivors. Anyway. Now we got rest of, also because it's totally me. I'm run the Rogue's Passage. Let's look at some of the Forge of Heroes. I figured why not? It's a single color deck, and it's one that I want to deal damage with. So she's gonna, for one more. Essentially, it has kicker one, put a counter on her, but that's fine. You just tap a fourth land. It's all right. Now, I guess let's look at some removal. C18 gave us more Chaos Warps. I love it. Pillage is not bad because Pillage is going to take care of that nasty, nasty Maze of Ith and cards like it. Well, lands like it. There's always that one land people have, and if not, there's definitely that artifact people have. Hulk Smash. Now, I'll admit, I was looking through I have a box of to be sorted cards, and it's just, stuff I've recently bought or whatever. And come on now, push down. And this stuck out to me because it was shiny. And I'm like, it pops an artifact and it draws a card. Mono red, that draw card really, really matters a lot to me. Maybe more than it should. And of course, Rack and Ruin for when you got to blow up 2 artifacts. I'm fighting Glare now. Now, Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast. Say it with me. I fear Cyclonic Rift. Because this is the deck that Cyclonic Rift ruins. Because all of those survivors are yours. They may not be on your field. Everybody else may have them, but let's face it, they do in our work. I want them to be out there. I want my opponents to have a ton of survivors. I want them to be huge and, smashing face. Because, let's face it, it ain't my face, so what do I care? So, now, certain things going to happen when your girl dies. Number 1, you're going to get all them survivors back. I think before we get into that, let's get into the bulk of the deck. We have some room here because that's really, and I thought, well, we're playing mono red. Oh, come on, we're going to try to fix this little. We're playing mono red. So let's burn stuff up. So I'm, lightning bolt, shock, chain lightning, ghost fire. Now ghost fire, when I saw the ghost fire, I was like, yeah, for all those things with pro red. Then I was like, oh crap, what about hexproof and stuff, stuff like that. So I'm doing a spotlight. But char, fiery temper, lightning strike. That's how much burn them. Incinerate, volcanic hammer. Love the JSS ones. Fire blast. Don't have a fork to go with the fire blast. That would have been sweet. And searing blaze. Of course, just fixed, quick, spot, burn. That's what all that stuff is. Now, stay with me just for a second on this one. We have Banefire, Blaze, Ravaging Blaze, Fireball, Volcanic Geyser, and Disintegrate. Now, all of those are X-burn spells. And the reason why there's so many X-burn spells, y'all remember that Mana Geyser? Just the Mana Geyser in an X-burn spell can really, late game, can really, really matter. But also, there's going to come a point in time where you're going to get back. We're probably just going to off our own general at some point when you sit there and you do the math and you realize there's enough survivor tokens that you can kill your general, get them all back, sack them for an insane amount of mana, and then fireball somebody or everybody. Well, almost forgot the Comet Storm. Of course, the Comet Storm is probably the best one because, you know, it's got the multi-kicker and you can target all your opponents, and it's pretty sweet. Now, I'm putting Furnace of Wrath in here. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am not a responsible enough person to be playing with Furnace of Wrath. Because if I draw it, I'm going to play it. Especially here. Twice as many survivors. But, you know, people are beating your face twice as hard, too. I don't know. I like it. Got Fervor for that turn when you... If you either want to get out with Varchild early, or if she dies and you want to swing right then with all those survivors. Now, Goblin Bombardment, excellent sack outlet because you can either sack her when you're ready to beat face with survivors, or you can sack survivors to have, you know, all kinds of pinball fun. Relentless Assault, going to give you another attack step, to which, now keep in mind, we're doing this to try to get survivors on the board so that we can take them later. But at the end of the day, we're doing commander damage pretty efficiently. I mean, she's 3 mana, and none of our pump cost more than her, so we're probably swinging for 5-6 the first time she swings on turn 4 or something. I mean, this is a really, really good chance that you're just going to general damage people out. Relentless Assault, you can general damage one person out in one turn, probably. You got 1 hit on them. Hits 2 and 3 are right there. But the problem is when the person dies, their survivors go away. So you got to be real careful. Of course, we have Smelt just to destroy something. Tormenting Voice because we need a card draw we can get. Reverberate because I'm too broke for a fort. Now,